What would Kris do 4 weeks into the COVID virus? I would talk to my friend, Sedona professional colleague, Dr. Jenna Blasi. Dr. Jenna, so good to see you. And
Nice to see you too.
your face is awesome and reassuring. Let's talk about what's been going on 4 weeks in, and love to get your perspective from the naturopathic side of this whole thing.
Sure. So, as we know, in this situation, things are changing daily.
Yep.
So in terms of concrete medical information, we're always learning something new about this virus and how it transmits, et cetera. First, when it started, it was keep 3 feet distance, then it was 6 feet. I read an article this morning that's saying further. So I don't want to address those things because I think we can all keep up on that ourselves and read what's going on. I would like to look at how we respond to it. And one of the things in naturopathic medicine is we're looking at the individual. So even in a disease, whether it's diabetes or some kind of chronic disease, or whether we're looking at an epidemic or a pandemic in this situation, it's a virus, it's a bug, they will always be here. And that's one of the things that may scare some people, but to me, it's reassuring in the sense that there will always be those outside forces. So we have to look at what can we control. And what we can control is our reaction to things and our general level of health. So I guess the way that I would break down looking at this is prevention. Okay. And then the 4 pillars of health, I always come back to those. In Ayurvedic medicine, there's the 4 pillars of health, and they are like the legs of a chair. We want all 4 of them there for a nice, stable foundation. And then if you'd like, we can talk about like a few key supplements for the immune system.
Fantastic. Yeah. So talk about the 4 pillars.
Yeah. So I just want to briefly say, in terms of prevention, to me, the 4 pillars are prevention because they are that stable chair. And as far as standard prevention, I think we're all pretty versed in washing our hands. And I like to say physical distancing rather than social distancing, because there are so many people who suffer from depression and anxiety and already feelings of loneliness and isolation that we don't really want to socially distance ourselves per se right now, but we do want to physically distance. And so those general precautions. And then what can we do, because it's really individual. So those 4 pillars of health are nourishment. Now, some people will say these are Ayurvedic pillars, and so you'll hear them maybe different ways. Some people will say diet. I don't really like the word diet, and I could say nutrition, but what I like about nourishment is it's about nourishing ourselves. It's not just what we eat, and that is a huge piece, but it's also what are we doing to have joy in our lives? What are we doing to nourish ourselves? The second one is sleep, and I'll come back into each of these. And so nourishment, sleep, exercise or movement, and then stress management, or in Ayurveda, they would say meditation or sacred space. There's different ways to look at that. And one of the things I would recommend in this time now, when there's so much fear, there's a lot of misinformation, is look at those pillars and find out which one's wobbly in your life. And this is really an amazing opportunity to strengthen ourselves, because once we've got this one behind us, the next one will be on its way.
That's right.
And
That's
so
right.
if we always go after the bug, if we always go after the virus, that's like chasing your tail, right? But if we look at what we can do, and I'm not saying that people who are healthy don't get sick, and sometimes gentle illnesses can be a nice cleansing. But even in, we hear these stories, particularly in the US, of, oh, well, she was really healthy and she got sick, or he was really healthy. I would still say maybe someone exercises, maybe they sleep well, but maybe they're not managing their stress. Maybe they look healthy, but they're very highly stressed. Or maybe they look healthy, but they don't sleep well. These pillars are all so important. So for nourishment, in a nutshell, in this brief interview, I would say eat the rainbow. Eat a variety of colors. Let's avoid packaged food as much as possible. And this is giving us an opportunity to look globally at how we live, right? How dependent are we on everybody else for our food or our toilet paper? And so a lot of people are planting gardens, and that's a really beautiful thing. And whenever anything is happening, whether it's the death of a loved one, or in this case, a global pandemic, anything that's really challenging, I think it's important to look for the light and look for what's positive. And that is not meant to diminish the suffering that a lot of people are having and the job insecurity and financial worries. But this is also a global reset. How are we all living? And do we want to continue to live this way? Do we want to grow our own food? Do we want to slow down our pace of life? Do we want to spend more time with the people we love?
Right.
Hospice nurses have been found to say that people on their deathbed, the number one thing that people say is, I wish I had worked less. And now we're being kind of forced into that situation. So looking for those positives. So with nourishment, I would say back to that, eat rainbow, eat healthy, fresh foods as much as possible, drink lots of water. Our hydration is our protection. It's our first line of defense, actually, for the respiratory system. The drier all of these mucous membranes get, the less they can do their job, which is to help prevent things from entering our system. So staying hydrated, and the respiratory system and mucous membrane system gets dehydrated very quickly. So eating whole foods and lean protein or plant-based protein, high fiber diet, lot of the rainbow, and complex carbohydrates, not refined. So avoiding the white sugars and white flours and all of that. And one of the issues that's happening now, I think, for a lot of people is they may be stress eating. And what do we tend to do when we stress eat is sugar. And what is really one of the number one things we can do to basically tell our immune system to take a hike would be to eat sugar. The smallest amount of sugar suppresses our immune system for hours. And so I've seen people, and I won't name any family names, who are quarantining themselves and staying away, but they're also sitting around and they're eating sugar. And so hopefully their stress is down. If some of the other pillars are stronger, that will help, but really it's a very detrimental thing to do right now. And if you have any questions on any of these, I can go back to them, but I know we're on a limited time here. So sleep. Now, for some people, sleep might be number one. Maybe that's really their Achilles heel. Sleep is really underestimated by most people. We get in this sort of rat race mentality and we just run, and we stay up late. And I know I was a little bit of guilty of that myself during naturopathic medical school, when I'd study really late and then get few hours of sleep. And what that does is it disrupts our endocrine system. It disrupts our hormones. It causes our body to store fat. It dramatically decreases our immune system. So if we want to help our immune system, we need to sleep. If we want to help our weight balance and metabolism and hormone balance, we need to sleep. So that would be pillar number 2 in the way that I break them down.
Right.
And then movement.
Yeah.
Some docs will say that's the number one thing we can do right now. And for people that don't have self-discipline and now don't have the gym or their trainer or their classes, it's that much harder. So there is so much available right now online that I just encourage people, find what you find fun and start doing it and get out in the fresh air. When we go back to nature cure and naturopathic medicine, we look at fresh air and fresh water and fresh food. Hopefully everybody has access to those things. Not everybody does. And those of us that do should take advantage. So get out and walk away from, we've had to close some of the bigger trails here in Sedona because of all of the people, but just get some fresh air, even if it's just in your backyard. If you have a rebounder, pull it out into the sun and bounce up and down on the rebounder. It's wonderful for moving the lymph and staying healthy. I joined, I'm a fitness instructor. And so for me, I just have routines running in my head all the time, but I even joined somebody else's challenge. And I got online and I joined some 30-day challenge, and hers is only 15 minutes a day, which for some people, like my husband,
That's a lot for some.
That's a lot. And that's more than he's ever done. So that's a huge accomplishment. Great. For me, it's my warm up, and then I do something else. But there's yoga, there's Pilates, there's subscriptions, there's free stuff. There's lots available online that people can do for movement. And then the fourth pillar, which may even be the most important for the majority of people, is this meditation or stress management piece. And to not fall into that place of fear and anxiety. because that is so, I mean, I think most of us know, but it's so detrimental to all levels. And so, you know, when we have the right nutrients, they help our genes express in a positive way. They help with our sleep. They help with our hormone balance. Stress will counter much of that. And so exercise is stress management. You know, these pillars weave together. Exercise is stress management. Eating healthy gives us the nutrients we need to help us manage our stress, but also just a dedicated practice of breathing or meditation or prayer is really important. And again, like exercise, whatever is doable. Maybe it's 5 minutes a day, maybe it's 10 minutes a day. Maybe you're able to bookend your day, start in the morning and finish up at night. For folks that have sleep issues, I absolutely recommend a meditation practice in the evening because that helps calm the body down. Sacred space might be taking a bath, might be taking a nice Epsom salt bath, which has extra magnesium, which helps the muscles and mind relax. And then you can put lavender oil in there, drink some tea, might be sitting outside on the porch, but having that, you know, it's funny because I've often gone over these pillars with people in my practice, and now is really an opportunity when most people, if they're not an essential worker, you know, if you can stay home, please stay home and start to see what it looks like to have these in your life as solid pillars. And then when things pick up again, how do you maintain? How do you hold on to that? Because most people right now, if they're not essential workers or groceries in the grocery stores or front lines, they have time at home. They may have kids. I have kids. If I'm exercising, my 3-year-old starts crawling all over me. I just start using her as extra weight. Or I jump on the trampoline with them.
That's great.
It's not necessarily easy, but it's doable if we really set our minds to it. And if we don't manage that stress, it increases inflammation in our body, increases cortisol, which suppresses the immune system.
Right.
So there's really direct correlation there.
Well, these are great. The 4 pillars. We appreciate you being on. I'm going to share a screen with everybody so that you know how to get a hold of Dr. Jenna Blasi. This is her actual site, sedonanaturopathic.net. And there she is. And you can read on her website. She's some great articles and some great ideas on core nutrition. But Dr. Jenna, you are awesome. We appreciate you so much taking the time today. And let's power through those 4 pillars.
Yes, yes. And may I give one more plug for homeopathy? You know, I didn't mention that it's not inherently in these pillars. It has an amazing track record if people actually look into it in the treatment of pandemics and epidemics, including incredibly fatal ones like smallpox and polio. And so I encourage people, because most folks, if you have moderate or mild symptoms, you're told to stay home. And so pick up that phone and get a homeopathic consult if you can, and have a remedy that will help you move through it much more quickly, especially the sooner you treat after symptoms begin, it can really stop things in their track. So, but all of these, and then immune boosters, and yeah.
Well, we so appreciate you being here. What would Kris do? I go to Dr. Jenna Blasi, and you saw the website. I'm going to share it one more time. This is the website, sedonanaturopathic.net, and her contact information is right here. So huge thanks, Dr. Jenna. We'll be seeing you soon, hopefully on another Zoom call.
That's right. Stay healthy.
Take care. Have a great day.
Yeah, you too. Bye-bye.